The old school RuneScape community is in a rough place right now because of the Zulrah nerf. There are people ranting on Twitter, on the forums, on the 2007scape subreddit. There are people rioting in Falador. It's pretty rough. People are having trouble just living nowadays. I don't know about the last part, but there are definitely people that are ticked off and that are outraged that the Zulrah nerf has happened. Now today what I'm going to do is I'm going to test out the new Zulrah with some of the nerfed gear. I want to see what it's like with the nerfed Elite Void or with just the nerfed Void in general. And they are saying that the Zulrah drops have been nerfed by around 30%, and I'm going to test that out with my current setup. Now what I did was I actually bought a rigger and an augury for this. I planned on doing this for a long time. I figured that with the Inferno coming out next week, I probably might as well get them since I'm probably going to need them for it. And I just thought to get them now for this Zulrah test. I also just couldn't afford the max gear. I mean, Ancestral and Armadillo, and I think Twisted Bow is probably even best for, but even without a Twisted Bow, it's still very expensive. So I myself couldn't afford it, especially since I just bought augury and rigger. But what I have for you guys is somebody on the RuneScape subreddit, or the 2007scape subreddit, actually posted a thread of their pretty much 10 hours at Zulrah, and they did it with max gear. So at the end of my pretty much loot and, you know, showing you guys what I killed and the loot I got, I'm going to show you guys his loot and how it compares between the two setups. Again, you can critique my setup, you can change it however you want, but this is just what I used. I know people are saying that maybe the Book of Darkness would have been better, but this is what I ended up using. I just wanted to test out the Elite Void because, as you guys know, I think the damage from regular Void was reduced from 20 to 10%, and now in Elite Void they actually rebuffed it up to 12.5%. So there is a 2.5% increase boost on the Elite Void now, but it's still 12.5%, so still a 7.5% decrease in damage. Well, that was a lot of percents. So the kills here weren't too bad for me. I was still averaging probably around a minute 30 to 2 minutes per kill. On some of my best kills, I was getting sub like 110s. I actually got a personal best while doing this. I got a 106, which isn't, you know, the best personal best in the world, but for me, I beat my personal best by like 2 seconds using this setup. But it was mainly because I got augury and rigger. I think augury and rigger were the saving factors here. If it wasn't for them, if I was just using my regular prayers, whatever, Mystic Might and then Eagle Eye, then I definitely would have been doing slower kills. Zulrah gear at the moment is dropping heavily. I mean, some of the Zenyte jewelry is down to like 11 to 12 mil. I think I bought this Ring of Suffering for 11 mil. I bought the Imbued Heart for 28 mil. The Arcane was going from like 120 down to 113, so I don't know what's going to go on with that. But we're going to see in the upcoming weeks what kind of prices these Zulrah items are going to go to, mainly because I think people are going to start switching from Zulrah to Raids, since I think Raids is, I think, consistently the best money per hour. Demonic Gorillas is up there as well. Now even Brutal Black Dragons are up there for some of the best money makers in the game. Now what I've noticed is that people are definitely over exaggerating the pretty much Zulrah GP per hour. They're saying like it's not even worth gearing up for Zulrah, it's not even worth learning Zulrah anymore, it's so terrible. Guys, it's still decent money per hour, it's just not what we were used to. We were so used to Zulrah being like 4 mil plus an hour with a mediocre setup or whatever it was, that what you are getting now seems extremely low, but it actually is just sort of normal for maybe what the boss should have been when it first came out. I don't necessarily agree with some of the nerfs. I know a bunch of you guys don't as well, so if you would want to see one of the drops maybe reverted back to what it was, or maybe instead of, you know, a bunch of sharks dropping, they nerfed, and switching it to manta rays, they actually nerfed it back to sharks, but actually made it like 35 sharks instead of 100 sharks or something. Either way, Zulrah is still good money per hour. It's just definitely not what we're used to, especially with a max setup. So I did 6 hours of Zulrah with this setup. Now don't forget that I have the ornate pool in my house. I have the max pool. So what I did was I tabbed out every kill, just pretty much refreshed everything on my stats, on my HP, on my specs and everything, used the fairy ring in my house, and then teleported back, used the fairy ring to Zulrah. Now in those 4 hours, I managed to make 6.3 million GP. So 4 hours, 6.3 million, which comes out to about 1,575,000 GP in those per hour. So definitely a decrease to what I'm used to. Now those 4 hours are without getting a unique drop. I did actually manage to get 2 Spirit Seed drops, so I mean FML, but they're not the same drop rate as some of the uniques. But I didn't get any uniques here. If I would have gotten a unique, it would have been maybe closer to 2 mil per hour, which still would have been pretty good. But in my case, I didn't get a single unique. So we're looking at about 1.5 mil an hour if we take away supplies costs with this setup. Again, 1.5 mil an hour isn't too bad. There are other things that take less effort that make you good money, like Wyverns and Brutal Black Dragons. But yeah, it really comes down to what you're willing to do for money, and if you're willing to do Zulrah again or do something else, I don't know. So to the guy that was doing it in max here, obviously you can see he's a max guy. He has a max cape, Ancestral, Armadillo. He's got pretty much everything except the Twisted Bow. Like I said, I'm still not sure if that's better than the Blowpipe or not. but it may be, it may not. It's just a lot of money. So he wrote down pretty much all his stats in the thread. I'm gonna link the Reddit thread below if you guys want to take a look at everything. He posted a lot of information about it. There's a lot of thoughts on his kills as well, which you guys can check out if you want. But pretty much what he averaged was 2.4 million GP an hour. He did get 2 uniques, however, which may have skewed it a little bit. He did it for 10 hours. Again, even 4 hours for me is still a low, I guess, estimate of what you'd be getting, but this guy did 10 hours. It's a bit better, but still, because he got the 2 unique drops, it may have skewed his overall GP per hour a little bit. Either way, with his max setup, he was getting about 2.4 million an hour, and if it wasn't for those unique drops, it may have gone down a few 100K, maybe even closer to 2 mil an hour. Again, definitely more than what I was getting with my Void setup, definitely over 2 mil an hour still, but not really close to 3 to 4 mil an hour, which is what people were getting before. So the nerf to the drops was definitely what people were expecting, and that's definitely what it is now. Unless you get extremely lucky, it's looking like Zulrah is not going to be more than, I guess, 2.75 mil an hour, if that's sort of a, you know, a good guess. If you guys have been doing Zulrah since the nerf has come out and you want to post your stats below and what you guys think you're going to be getting in the future with your setups, then please let me know below so everybody else looking at the comments can see as well. Anyways, guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys all for watching, and hope to see you next time. Have a good one, and peace.
Wow.